Thank you for having me from University of London. So I was like talking to her, trying to understand the scope of what you are doing. So what I realized is that you are into more of an action research, where I'm into like academic, like theoretical research. But yeah, we supervise and the action research as well. So what you're supposed to do is very fun. Right? What you're supposed to do is very fun. Um, you have quite a number of months to engage with. So let's see. I mean, I'll try to understand the whole gamut of what you're doing. And maybe what I have prepared for you is kind of complex. However, I'll try to come on to. So what I have wrote in terms of the title is this from ages to perspectives, mastering the art of electricity. So there's a reason behind this study, like why would I say it's an art? Obviously, writing a dissertation or writing just for an project should be a very artistic thing, right? I started. Yeah. So, meaning as I read you, I mean you are employed, no? Everybody employed. Most of them employed. So now you're supposed to do a more of a consultancy project that involves a literacy component. To start with, what you have understood already in terms of literacy. Now you have had 2 lectures already. What you're supposed to do there, I mean, So what do you know about literature already? Just for me to understand where you are. What other companies are doing? Any other? Or like identifying a gap? What sort of gap? The gap that you want to use. The gap that you want to use. Okay. Perspective from what you're supposed to do now, you have this consultancy project. Obviously, literature review is very daunting, I would say. It requires a more of a technical skill, it requires more of a articulate. The blend of everything. So, this is how I read. Okay. Now, if you are doing a project, now you are like undergraduates, being undergraduates, you are doing something quite academic. No? This is an academic endeavor, right? So if you are engaging in an academic endeavor, we cannot prove anything, or rather we cannot justify anything merely based on our hunches. That's what academics are doing. Like academics are always trying to prove or rather validate something, certain sources, credible sources, right? Sometimes with some accredited information where others have realized correct. So if you are doing something, this is your consultancy project. Now you are trying to figure out a research problem as well. For this, of course, you need to have, I would say, some sort of a background in terms of the theory. In terms of the theory, don't be confused with the term theory. Sometimes it's like what other people have done in regards to what you are doing. That is my understanding in terms of literature. Get it? Anybody would like, anybody, okay. In volunteers, like anybody works yeah. Company, agency, you work as who? An executive. You being an executive of a marketing agency, thank you. You might have encountered a lot of, I would say, concerns or other issues in your company, right? Have you ever come across any sort of an issue in terms of what you are engaging? Yeah. All right. In terms of what? We do their social media account, right? And they don't have an idea about what we should do. All right. Like we are the ones who give the idea. Yeah. Like they are like trying to give us ideas that won't work. Okay. And when we explain it, right. It's not really working. Yeah. On what ground you are saying it's not working? The ideas that they are giving are outdated. Outdated. Yeah. Okay. I'll pick that up. I'll pick that one. Now thank you. She's working at now I want you to relate yourself also onto this. Okay? As you are employed or not. Now she says, being a marketing agency, right? Being a marketing agency, they provide marketing solutions. So they know, I mean, with their experience, they know as to what they are doing. Their project, they have done a lot of projects in their past, and they know the thing, right? So they provide marketing solutions, and the audience per se, they are not quite ready to understand that in terms of what they are not. In terms of the idea, it's not really matching, right? So let's call that In marketing, how would you define that? There's some sort of a perceptual difference between the two. Right? Now you want to understand what leads to that perceptual difference. That is the issue. That is the issue. Right? That is the issue that you have realized that what I am proposing to the customer and they are not willing to accept, and there's some sort of a gap in between that of the perceptual difference. So that is your issue. That is your issue. Now you want to understand, okay, what leads to this perceptual issue? That could be one thing that you could do. What leads to, meaning the causes. What else you could do in terms of this scenario? There could be causes behind that, no? No. There could be a lot of causes. Sometimes they are not quite indicated enough to understand. Sometimes the context is different. I don't know. There could be some, okay, the causes as well as some contextual differences as well, I would say, for the sake of understanding. Right? This is how you have captured this. I haven't read anything about this. Now you being a marketeer, you feel that okay, I'm providing solutions, and I just feel with my experience alone, it's the reason. Sometimes your managers might tell that these are the causes. They are not quite educated enough to understand, and whatnot, and some contextual factors as well. But this is what you believe. This is you. This is you. Okay, having realized the issue, what you might supposed to do next? Now suppose you want to table that scenario or rather the dilemma in your consultancy project. Right? Now you are starting formulating your question, saying that I have been engaging in this company for a long time now, and this situation is happening. Now the literature part is coming in your document. They are private document. Now in the literature, now you might write the research problem, and afterwards there's a section of a huge section is coming in terms of literature. What you might do there in regards to this? Any guesses? Any guesses? Other companies. Okay. Other companies. Okay, fine, thank you. Other than that, any other perspective? Anything else? You read up, who says that? You read up on it? You read, okay, very nice, thank you. You read up on it? You read about different articles. What do you mean articles here? Research papers. Oh. Right. Now you read up on different articles. There you are. Spot on. Right. You want, okay, by reading what you might realize. Tell me, yes? Different causes. What other people might have already told us, right? Some other researchers, I would say. Some other researchers have told, okay, these are the causes that leads to this perceptual difference. Okay? And these are the contextual factors, such as sometimes maybe like social norms, sometimes the cultural factors. People understand differently based on the culture, isn't it? Based on the religion sometimes. Based on the gender sometimes. Based on the education sometimes. It's not a context anyway, education, however. Okay, these articles and some other published work, I would say, published.
I'll be telling what published later on. Now you want to provide a background in your, what do you call this, consultancy project, saying that, okay, these authors, these other authors have told that, okay, I mean, I'm not inducing my biasness to here. What I try to say, or rather what I try to document, what other people might have told in terms of what I have seen in the real world. That of the perceptual difference. Get it? What other people have told about it. Right? So you are providing a background to what you are seeing in the real world, and you are trying to document all those things. I wouldn't really like to call it as documenting. I would say you are trying to argue, right? Not documenting. When I say documenting, it's like listing them out. No, not listing them out. It's like you're trying to argue theoretically what you have seen in the real world. That is basically the literature review. Are we clear? Are we clear? You are basically arguing, providing a theoretical background. But when I say theoretical, meaning that you are not introducing your perspective there, rather you are trying to confirm what you are seeing in the real world in a theoretical lens. For that, of course, you need to dive onto the literature. Go see in the internet. Go see those days that was merely the library. Right? Nowadays, AI is there, I'll show. And a lot of, research articles are there, research repositories are there for you to dig and try to figure out, okay, these are what other people have told. Okay, now tell me, now suppose you have nicely articulated what other people might have told in terms of what you are seeing in the real world. So what? You have to give your own conclusion as well. Okay, fine. Your own conclusion. Yeah. For that, of course, we have to again. Do they have some data collection? Yes. You have to go on to that stage to come up there. So up until this stage, now you are documenting and you are providing a theoretical background. Okay, now you are quite okay. Now here's what. In research, nobody would like to, accept a point that I would say based on my own conscience. If I am validating my thought with the other people's work, everybody started to believe what I'm saying. So on the document, you are trying to do that, the same thing. Right? So that stems down to the literature review. Now you are theoretically okay. Now you have understood what you are seeing in a theoretical lens as well. Now you are quite ready to go onto the field and collect some data and analyze them and come up with a solution. And that's how your whole, the consultancy project would go there. That would be the whole, the fabric that I will talk today. Okay. So for that, of course, I'll be sending this to you. So just for me to set the scene, all these things are quite necessary in this endeavor. All right. Now I would call it a manuscript. You can call it in terms of this is your consultant project, and this is how how are you going to equip yourself? Not merely the literature, I would touch upon those things as well, because literature review is not a standalone activity. It connects here and there. So I would try to connect the other things as well that connects with the literature review. All right. For you to have your nicely fine-tuned manuscript, that of your project, I guess you have to have all these and then to articulate your literature, right? First thing being your subject knowledge. Right? I'll try to link this to this as well. You just stare on this couple of seconds and try to figure out what I'm trying to say here on this side. Now I want you to figure out where you would stand. Where you would stand. Yes. Now, okay. Now, as you are employed, now you are coming from the very practical ground. Now, what you just told here, saying that there's a perceptual difference between the marketeers and the service, like the buyer, I would say, B2B context, there's a difference. Meaning how, from where that thing stems from, that issue stems from where? Is that stemming from the practical ground or is it stemming from the theoretical ground merely? Thank you, yes, that is stemming from the, he did not tell that idea based on any research or anything, no, but what he just experienced. If you are disclosing something based on your experience, meaning that that thing is stemming from the practical situation. Right? Any other perspective, any other things she just expressed in your company that you would table onto your project? Any other thing? Bad goods. Goods are aging. Perishables. They're perishing.
Yes, they're perishing. So what happens when goods age? They're aging because we haven't foreseen the changes in demand.
Yeah.
If we look at certain promoters exhausting, and that's not how the demand is. There are quite a few reasons for it.
Okay. Yeah, excellent. That will be some sort of a supply chain issue as well. Goods are perishing. That is stemming from where? That is stemming from the practice. Now I want you to, picture what is your practice situation. I want everybody to picture that. Like you said, everybody, all of you, trying to figure out something that you would table on your project, right? Meaning that something has stemmed from the practice, right? Is that enough? No, that is not enough. Now you want to go onto the internet. I'll show later on. I want to go onto the internet and trying to understand, okay, what other people have done. What leads to perish? What leads to causes of perish? Right? Obviously, you're questioning, meaning the issue is there already. You're questioning it, but it's not enough. You are not really there yet. What you have to do, like what is left to do? The literature part. Once you understand the issue just go on to the Google. I'll just reserve that point later on. We are coming there. We are trying to understand, okay, what theoretical backing is there for me. Now I have a question. If there's no theoretical background, so what you do? Suppose now you have a fantastic issue. You have a fantastic issue, but all of a sudden when you go and search on the articles, and you don't see anything. Haven't you had that question? Huh? What you would do? What you would do? What you would do? Any guesses? Think.
Papers or by other companies?
Think both. Let's just not think about what other companies. Let's think about what other researchers have done in terms of articles, the published work, peer-reviewed work, and things and whatnot. Not other companies. Other companies also experiencing that is also there in the practice. If other companies are also experiencing the same thing, meaning that's there in the practice. I mean, that other companies also in the same industry, no? So the same practice, right? You now trying to figure out what this. Now suppose you don't see anything on the internet. When you put the keywords, nothing is coming out. What you would do? What you would do? Okay. That's not practical, no? It rarely happens. Internet is so big. Internet might provide you with something that is quite relevant to what you are searching for. I haven't, I have that question, but I haven't had any situation where I don't find anything. So the literature is there for you. So it's a matter of, framing in a way that it is very related to what you are doing. Now suppose you put all those keywords, the goods are perishing and things like that, and the internet is telling you a lot of things. Now, this issue, sometimes you can push this issue from this point to this point, and sometimes with this point to this point. With the gravity, this is quite philosophical. This is more towards like academic researchers, philosophically speaking. Now, this is your whole document. This is your whole document. What I want to tell you is that the more the theoretical backing that you are providing in your document, the more what? The more rigorous your project is. Suppose you have a fantastic issue understood, but you have a very less of literature. So what indicates? It meaning that it's not still worthy, I would say. It's not really worthy for a fantastic project. The more the literature that you would bring on to the project, meaning that you are bringing a more rigor onto your dissertation rather than the project. So make sure that you are bringing and make sure that you are providing a justice for this. Because what? When I teach my research students, for example, I would say 10% of your whole document is introduction and the context, and about 30% is about literature, and about again 10% about methods, and the rest is for the findings. So make sure that a considerable fraction of your dissertation or under the project is for the literature part. So the literature is very crucial. Okay? Literature is very crucial. So to Do you understand the significance? So this is a advisor.
There can be a question from student. Hey, the consultant. So, from the client's point of view, the rigorous literature review that the student conduct or the consultant conduct might not be really value adding from client's point of view.
Yeah.
So student might have a question like, what's the whole point of doing a rigorous literature review in that case? The
Where the
solution,
clients would play.
like clients, they don't have a role to play here, sir. But if you look at the nature of this project, yeah, if marks are given, the grades are given, they are. But from client's point of view, what's
Clients meaning the other industry people.
the company they work for,
Yeah.
the problem they have, yeah. Do they have a value addition?
Yeah.
Or is it a only academic value addition?
No. They would definitely have a value addition. But I guess not in the literature section per se. Sometimes in the context. Oh yeah. Sometimes as you frame your research problem, obviously you need to justify that. Of course the client's perspectives are coming on board. Of course the client's perspectives are coming. And also, when you're proposing the findings, of course, you would obviously consult the clients. You would obviously consult the clients. Why not? So, that issue might be there in the other companies as well. So, you would consult the other companies as well and then trying to figure out. Did I ask you a question? Yeah. So, clients, the other industry people is not something to be overlooked. Definitely they need to bring onto the project, but I guess not in the literature. Because those are also going on to the practice. Those are also going on to the practice, I guess. Yeah. Okay. So, I'm just setting the scene. So, now you have understood that issue, no? You have understood that issue. For you to obviously write this manuscript, that of your project, obviously the subject knowledge really matters. I want everybody to do your project on a subject that you really like. Right? Because that is what I'm advising to my research students as well. I mean, I wouldn't do the research on chemistry because I don't know anything about it. But I know a little in terms of entrepreneurship and things like that. So I want you to, she would do a study on marketing and she would do a study on supply chain, I don't know. Something that is related to your working environment and that working environment might have a lot of issues. So you would table something quite engaging. Obviously, you would be submitting your project in September, if I'm not mistaken. So, a lot of time. So make sure that you are investing, finding out a project that is quite engaging. Because why? You need to go and read the literature. You need to go and see what are the key advancements that are out there, the literature and things like that, the subject knowledge. Here the literature comes. For you to nicely write that, obviously this is the point. When I get to supervise students, undergraduates, postgraduates, and sometimes PhD students also, they come with a lot of articles and say, okay, these are my literature. Lot of articles in the software, reference management software, and sometimes in the computer. And they say, okay, this is my literature. I'm asking, so what? I need the write-up. So make sure everybody, you might read a lot of literature. So our Vinandra might look at what you have written in the document. For that, of course, there are other two things involving on this process. That is the technical stuff. Obviously, the writing style, the referencing. Obviously, you cannot document literature. Obviously, you cannot document literature with no citations. With no citations. Right? You have to come up with the other people's work, obviously. So, this is literature. I don't know if we have time to talk that thing today. Like we have a lot of softwares to do all these citations. And literature, for you to write the literature, obviously those softwares will be very supplementary. Let's see with the time. Right? So there are a lot of technical stuff involved in this process. Obviously, you're writing, you're referencing, AI and integrity. Obviously, your school might have an AI policy because all the universities out there, they have their AI policies already, and how you would handle the MS Word and things like that. And why would I write this articulation is because when you are writing the literature also, we are writing in a way, in a very creative manner, saying that, okay, this author have said this, and this author have said this, and I'm counter arguing this. Likewise, you are providing a theoretical background. So that is what I'm telling, the articulation. All this is a funnel, everybody. This is a funnel, right? So this is your output, your project. Okay. So I'll be focusing more on this today as we talk about the literature. Are we clear? Any questions? Just interrupt me. All right. So I would not really go on to research per se. How? Just knowledge would be helpful. Everybody brought your laptops. If we can share them, that's fine. I mean, you can open them. I'll tell you to go and see. Right? You can open up your you can go to the Google Scholar. Not onto the Google, but onto the Google Scholar. That is where you have the other people's work. In Google as well, we have the other people's work. But good stuff are there in the Scholar. So I want somebody else to tell an issue. I want somebody else to tell an issue. Someone who wants to find your literature, just I can help you out. So here we have an issue. Now here's the thing. There are more advanced search techniques, right? But before we go there, I'll tell you the most basic one. How would you go search the literature out there? Now she's told quite an interesting issue here. Now she says she works at a travel agent company. So they deal with B2B and B2C companies. When it comes to B2B particularly, they don't really pay on the period. So what we can do? So as the period extends, you have to compromise. Right? Alright. Now that is the issue that you have now. That issue can be segregated into keywords. Right? Whatever issue that you have in your mind can be segregated into keywords. What's that? What do you mean by a keyword? As the term says, the keyword, yeah, exactly, keywords. Right? Now, in her story, what keywords that are out there? In her story, whole story, B2B, is that a keyword? Could be, obviously, B2B. Any other keywords out there? He did not refer B2C. What other? Credit period. Fine, thanks. Credit period. Travel industry, I would say. Any other keywords? Credit period. What other keywords that you would add here? Now, why would we add keywords here? To understand what are the most relevant literature. For you to have the most relevant literature, the best keywords needs to be given. Otherwise, the Google wouldn't really, they don't know how to figure out, and they would provide you with an output here based on what you are providing. So it is your responsibility that you would give the most accurate keywords. And she is quite concerned with the recovery also, no? Yeah, why not? Recovery. So I want you to, in the first place, now this keyword search in the literature can be started in different levels. One includes the broader search and the other includes a narrower search. What makes a search broader and what makes a search narrower? When you add the industry, does the search expand or narrow? Yes, thank you so much. Very nice, very nice. Likewise, from where would you start in the first place? From a broader search or from a narrower search? Excellent. Everybody understand what I'm telling you? So you would go search quite a broader search in the first place. And then, okay, just try to see the waters and then try to narrow it down until you get the best literature for you. Although you provide the narrower search here, Google might tell you millions of articles. So it is your responsibility to screen out what is the best articles for you. Alright. So now let's go search here. B2B, credit period, industry, what is the travel industry and recovery. Now I want you to put your keywords also there. Whatever the issue that you have in your mind on your laptop. Here we have. you just put the keywords that are there, see, there are heaps of articles coming. Heaps of articles are coming. All those things are going on to the literature. I'll tell you how would you figure out the best ones and the crap. Obviously, there are a lot of crap here. Anybody would write myself and insert in the Google, and that thing also be coming on. So it is your responsibility that you are looking for the best ones. I'll tell you how. Right? Now, as you put your keywords here, so the Google is telling you what literature is what literature out there for you. Corporation agreements, customer portfolio management in the hotel industry, not really relevant. Service problems and recovery strategies. There you go. An examination of the critical incident technique and B2B market. That article is capturing two keywords, B2B and the recovery. That might tell something. That might tell something. Right. This talks about travel expenses. Right? Okay, here we have something else also. Drivers of service, time zone, tolerance on B2B, recovery time, service recovery time. So all these, now here's the thing, I mean, you would have all these keywords and a search. Now I want you to play around with these keywords and try to get the best ones. So these old ones are the measures. Right? Now suppose this article, for example, would be a relevant one for you. Okay, you would do that, okay? And then you would go on to the article. I'll be coming up there later on, okay? Right? Search on the article. How would you be searching? So this would be the very first step that you would do, right? And now the questions are coming. How would you get the best sources? How would you get rid of the bad ones? Get rid of the bad ones and get the best one for you. Okay. So as you do research, everyone, for literature particularly, you can search through the journals that are out there. Okay. You can search through the journals that are out there, right? What could be a journal? Not the journal that you're writing at home. What could be a journal? Yeah. Journals are these. Journals are periodicals. There are certain universities, institutions publish annually. Annually, sometimes quarterly, sometimes biannually, sometimes monthly. So on a periodic basis, basically. Right? So they compile all the journals, articles, and they publish. So when it comes to journals, obviously, I want you to, find out certain journals that are related to your issue. Right? What is that? Now, I'm slowly going down in the Z, right? Don't, disengage, right? Save it, right? Now you have your issue, no? Right? Stay with me, everyone. Now you have your issue. Now you have your issue. Issue relates to a certain area, no? Now that issue is related to service industry recovery, services. That issue relates to marketing, and that issue could be supply chain. Likewise, your issue is related to certain domains, I would say. That is a research term, a domain, meaning an area. Okay? So you need to figure out what area or domain that my issue is related to. Right? Any other issues? This one is quite silent. Any other issues would like to? Any other issues? All right. Now here, I want you to think about the big subject domain that your issue is situated. That is your subject domain, right? And then once you understand your subject domain, I want you to go understand the journals that are in your domain. How would you do that? It's quite simple, right? So and it narrows down. Specify industry, specify country, specify region, and it narrowing it down. So you need to expand sometimes the search, sometimes narrow the search. If you don't have the literature, sometimes you keep it quite broad, and then contextualize. It's a good question. Yes, you could add the region. You could add the. Now here's the thing. Okay, good that you pointed it out. Now all those issues, everyone, this is an important thing. All the issues that you just disclosed are related to certain concepts, no? That issue is related to marketing. That issue is related to recovery service type of supply chain. Those concepts are universal concepts, right? Marketing is a universal concept. Supply chain is a universal concept. Finance is a universal concept, right? So those concepts are out there, up there, I would say. And what the researchers are doing is that they are contextualizing those concepts into different contexts. Sometimes in the industry, in IT industry, marketing IT, finance, banking and Sri Lanka, right? So all those contextualized work are there in the literature. So don't worry if the literature is not giving a contextualized one for you. At least if it is giving concept-wise research, that's enough for you. You can contextualize that. Right, Deep? No? You can contextualize that, right? Yeah.
So in that case, when analysis,
No, you don't have to. Okay, I'll answer that question with this. This is one of our work, quite recent ones, right? Published in Journal of Entrepreneurship in Emerging Markets. Okay. So this article talks about how entrepreneurs are impacting the context of that, of course, literature, I'll show what we have wrote in terms of literature. Here we have literature review, right? One section, community and community vitality. Community, is that a concept or a contextualized one? That is just a concept. No? I'm not writing anything about community or community vitality in Sri Lanka. I didn't write it. Huh? Community vitality. Entrepreneurial actions and community. Nothing about countries, nothing about contexts. You still can do it, no problem. And sometimes how you would write differs in terms of qualitative and quantitative research also. I'm not going there today because it's not our property. Right? And the spiritual context of community. Likewise, all these are concepts. So the point here, important, good that you pointed it out. As we write the literature, this is your issue. This is your issue. And this is your literature in terms of, largely in terms of the concepts. This is your issue. Alright. So don't worry if you don't have the contextualized, but still with the concepts you can provide the theoretical background. Alright. So I want you to go to www.scopus.com. Yeah. Contextualization and concept. All right. What's your name? Sandesh pointed out a very good question. Now he is asking the difference between the concept and the context. Don't worry about that. You have too much. I don't think you are worry too much about it, but I see. All right. Come on. Right. All right. Sandeep asked a very important question. The difference between concept and contextualization. Right? All right. Tell me concept. What's your fan area? Finance or whatever. Supply chain. Supply chain is a concept, a domain, I would say. It's not a really supply chain is not a concept, it's a domain. Supply chain. How this can be contextualized? Yeah, you know the difference already. Supply chain, you apply that thing into a certain area, contextualized. Supply chain, IT investments, Now, I want you to go to Scopus. Now you know all those supply chain and things like that. And I want you to go to this scopus.com. Right? Today I'm showing, I want you to bookmark all these as well. Right? Because these things Do you mind if I go by 7:30? Do you mind? You have other work to
They have existing terms.
till 12. Okay. Good. Everybody went to Scopus, right? Now I want you to go to sources. I want you to go to sources. Sources are up there. Sources are up there, right? And I want you to go see. And I want you to go click the subject area. And I want you to go click the subject area. And try find out your subject area. So there are a lot of subject areas, everyone. Starting from agriculture to chemistry to computer science to decision science, right? Economics, energy, whatnot. All the areas that are out there in the earth are there. I want you to go find out if you know. I guess everybody in business management and accounting. Everybody in this class are business management and accounting. So, broadly speaking, right, I want you to click on this business management and accounting. If you are doing a hardcore project that is on, for example, accounting per se, you would select this one also. But if you are in largely in management, accounting, business domain, we all are. I want you to just click that. Yeah. Okay. How to know? And then press apply. Apply. All right. So the Scopus is telling you the best journals that you would go search your literature. The best journals in the world, right? Best journals in the world. Meanwhile, I want you to go see anybody. Okay, now she might read this aloud, Journal of Marketing, because that is the journal. Yeah, that's the third journal out of 443 journals that are out there. That's one. In a 99% for that. Right? By looking at all, okay, for example, let's go to Journal of Marketing. Right? And you would try to understand what's the publisher and all the information in regards to the journal. Right? Those days they had the link also, but you can just copy and paste that on the Google. Yeah. Journal of Marketing. Right?
So can you quickly what's the meaning of journal and the publisher?
Yeah. Journal. Okay. Publisher. Good. This publisher is an institution. Publisher is an institution. Right? For example, our institution, University of Caledonia, we have our own journals as well. Caledonia Journal of Management, Journal of Business and Technology, likewise. So this is the publisher. Right? And so the publisher of this journal is American Marketing Association. Right? Right? So publisher is an institution or a board. Right? So the Journal of Marketing is here. So if you go to, now here's the thing, like
So these are like, now, okay, as Vihan asked, now, Journal of, look, Journal of Marketing is published by the Journal of American Marketing Association. That is a relatively small entity, a university, but you should see publishers like these also, right? Science Direct, Emerald, right? eStore, Taylor and Francis. ResearchGate is not a publisher. Good, good. It's like a social media page for academics. You can publish your own. It's fine. So all these are reputed publishers, right? So tourism management, for example, if you go here, so I want you to be a fan of all these. I mean, if you are doing a research or other project on tourism related issue, I want you to bookmark the Tourism Management Journal published by Science Data. It's a very top ranked journal in the world, right? So I want you to understand, like, there are what do you call this? How they appear would change onto institution to institution, right? Their interface. However, the interface, the content is quite similar, right? For example, they have their issues. For example, they have their journal information, right? They have their, if you want to publish with them, these are the information that you should read in the future perhaps, right? For example, if you go to all issues, here we are, issues. They are producing how many issues per year? 2024, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 issues per year, right? So they are publishing issues, 6 issues per year. Right? So all these issues, inside the issues, the articles are out there for you. The articles are out there for you, right? So here we have the articles, right? You can do that keyword search on these journals also. You can do those keyword searches in these journals, right? So how would you search on this journal? Here we have, in every journal, they have a search button. In every journal out there, they have a search button. Go to the search button and put that keyword that you put into the Google Scholar also. So whatever the article that matches your keyword, if that are there in that journal only, those would come up and show in the search bar, right? So these are very technical things. I did not really go on to literature review per se. We are still trying to, find out how would you find the articles. Are we clear? So I want everybody to, go on to Scopus and then find your area, the subject domain, and then find out the best journals that you would talk about your issue and bookmark them, and then go search in those journals also. Those journals, if you pick any journal from the Scopus, meaning that those journals could not publish any crap, all the good work. Right? Normally, like to an article to get published, right? Normally, to an article to get published, it takes like how many years? 1 or 2 years. This article, it took 2 years to come. Right? With a lot of revisions, and finally it got accepted. So, yeah, yeah. So all these technical things we have to do. Okay, are we clear up until now? Everybody, any questions? All good, fine. That's fine. Fine. Every literature exists, every theory
Right. All right. And, right, I'll skip this one, this is not really for you. And with this AI thing, we have lots. Now you're gonna enjoy all these, right? There are good graphs and things and whatnot is coming through these AI platforms. So there are a lot of AI platforms that are out there for you to search your literature, right? I mean, we should be using them quite mindfully though, right? Quite mindfully. So platforms such as SciSpace, I'll search through all these, okay? And connected papers, for example, SearchRabbit, for example, right? State maps, for example, Possible is a great software, right? I don't know if this works for you or not. Dimensions AI is a great platform. All these things I'll show, right? I mean, all these things are, to extract literature. You are not still writing them, right? Still extracting. And then it's our responsibility that we write. Okay, shall we do some now? Okay, let's start with SearchRabbit. I want you to go to www.researchrabbit.ai. Researchrabbit.ai. This one. This one. Okay. Right. Everybody went there? Everybody with me, Good. And I guess you need to create an account also there. Just 1 minute, just Google account. Just let the Google to create that account and your Google information. Right? All good? All good? All good? Okay. And the interface would look like this. And I want you to press this button, collection over there, and just a test file. Okay, just put test, whatever. Right, test. And you'll be having this and paper button. The green button and papers. Just click on it. Yeah, don't worry. That's fine. I mean, what do we expect? So, all the keywords that you have in your mind in regards to the issue that you are tabling in your project, I want you to put all those keywords in. Right? Some of my keywords. Right? I put my keywords and all these articles are fine. I mean, these platforms are very good. Those days we did not have anything like this. You know, I mean, with the AI advancement, all these platforms have come into play. So I guess we could use all these. So better. And I want you to just sometimes with the title it does come, and sometimes with the title and with the abstract also. The search queries are coming, right? And I just want to, I want you to flip through the abstracts as well, if for you to understand, okay, if this article is talking what you are after, right? Right? Just, I mean, you could do that at home, leisurely. Just imagine that all these articles are, talking what you are after. Whatever the article that you feel that is quite related to your work, I want you to press that collection, right? I'll press all these. So these platforms, are connected everywhere. So the search query is sometimes very good, right? I have added certain articles over here, right? Right? And so once you add certain articles, I want you to add about 10 articles maximum, yeah? Okay? The most relevant ones, right? And I want you to press similar work there. There's a button called similar work, right? Similar work. Just add blindly, it's fine. Right, look, everybody on the board. On the board. Yeah. So this platform is quite good at suggesting based on the articles that you just put. Now, students are quite lazy now, right? I mean, these articles are, these platforms are helping you out to search for based on the articles that you put. Everybody, based on the articles that you put, if you press similar work, this research rabbit is telling some other similar work to what you have fed. Okay? This research rabbit is providing some other similar work to what you have fed already. The other similar work are these. Right? Other similar work are these. Right? Other similar work are these. I mean, this is very good. Why would I say this is very good? Is because suppose you have found the most relevant ones here. Suppose you have found the most relevant ones here. And if you can expand your literature to all these work, I guess you are done with literature. I mean, get it? Now just go on to this work over here, and it tells the article and the other articles, publisher, the work, and all the whatnot. Right? So you can go to the original article also. For example, if I go here, see, if I press this blogs article, this is a good idea. Now, by looking at the graph, you can just, what you can say, by looking at this graph, for example, what you can just say, what is your critique on this? By looking at this work, what you can say? Yeah. There is one connected work, or rather a few of them, that is holding the whole literature that you have searched. Okay, that is this blogs work. This one. Yeah. You don't get anything. You get an empty blank page. Meaning that what you have put is not relevant. That's fine. That's fine. It's quite obvious. I just asked you to blindly put them. Same. Yeah. 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 All right. Now, yeah, I have just pressed this article, and it shows the summary, abstract, and everything. So, if you want to go to the original one, you can put up here. This is the original article, right? So, you can download all these articles, keep them, and you are quite ready to write the literature chapter. Are we clear? So, your whole literature will be based on this map. This map. The green ones are the ones that you inserted, and the blue ones are the connected papers to what you have. Right? I can see the connection from these one to these, but this one is very much connected to all these. now as you write, you can actually start with this paper, and you can read that one that's over here. I mean, this AGMSR, it is a verse #1 journal in journal of religion and spirituality management, etc. So yeah, are we clear? So these kind of things are very much helpful for you to frame the literature. Are we clear? Good. So with the time, the other things also, the size space also do the same thing. You can try it out when you get home. And the connected papers also do the same thing. This is also good. The illustration that they are providing is also very good. Connectedpapers.com. If you go to connectedpapers.com, same thing, you can add your keywords. Yeah. Yeah. Keyword listing. Because the search output that you are getting is based on what you have put. So there's no point. The platform, yeah. There are a lot of propositions also. You put a sentence, no point expecting the. The recent papers are also doing the same thing. I don't know how far you can, put this graph onto your project as an annexure. Still, these, platforms. This is important, everyone. I don't recommend our students to put these things onto the literature review chapter and say that my article or my literature review is based on all these, because all these platforms are quite not really there in terms of validation yet. But there's this one platform that is so good. That is Vosviva. It is a software, of course. Right? It is a software. I don't know if I have time to over this. But Vosviva outputs can also be taken from dimensions here. Right? Vosviva, even we write articles based on Vosviva. Right? And we try dimensions AI also. Right? Vosviva outputs can be taken there. So you go to dimensions AI. Dimensions AI. Look. Just an intro. This Dimensions AI, everyone, is one of the world's largest free search repositories. We have repositories such as Clarivate, Web of Science, and things like that. I don't think none of the Sri Lankan institutions have access to it. Right? Unfortunately, because it requires a lot of time. Right? Foreign universities, obviously, I don't know if it has with the foreign affiliation.
We have, so I don't think we have.
All this, no? Yeah. So because it's like, but if we have that access, we can do a lot. But yeah, that's quite unfortunate. But with this Dimensions AI, we can do something, because this is one of the very upcoming, very good platform that is quite threatening Scopus and things like that. Okay, so you go to dimensions.ai and you need a login there also. I want you to log yourself in there
And this is also providing you with a fantastic search because this has about this much number of publications already. So I don't think this would be so I want you to put your keywords here also. With and W. With and as a separation, right? Can we try because I can draw a graph based on. Yeah. So you okay? Can we run it for you there? I mean, you keep this mark, this platform with mark for work. I guess it sends a validation or something. Verification. All right, until you get it done, I want you to do that search here also. Okay. As that search bar says, so you need to have that and word in between the keywords that you put. And press. I mean, here this is quite advanced because you can select a certain number of time span. If you press the publication here, sometimes you may be clicking the most recent 10 years because you need the most recent literature to your work, right? And you would select all these and press over here, limit to. And your search is limited to the years that you have selected. Right? You don't need to worry about the researcher. That is for the advanced researchers. I mean, we can search by the scholar, so you don't need to worry about it. Research categories, don't worry about it. Publication type. Okay, I have a question, everyone. So all these things could be literature for you. Articles are out there for you. Look. Chapters, meaning the book chapters.
you would select out of all these? Articles for sure, because why? Chapters, sometimes edited books, and proceedings. Okay? You don't need seminars, monographs, limited to. But still you have about, the search has about 305 something. And you can still search through the journals also, right? If you are quite equipped enough, okay, that's fine. So here we are. I want you to, this number of articles are not really manageable for us in a one single work. 300 something K is not really manageable. So what you can do to narrow it down, you can add the context here. You can add the country here, industry, and it get narrow. Now, I just only put 2 keywords. It's quite obvious that I have a very broad span. Right? And I want you to click this analytical views button. Analytical view. Right? Analytical views. Right? And go on public researchers, and network. And down there, in this co-authorship analysis, I want you to go click citation analysis. Yeah. So here, this once again, this is not a good search. This is not a good search yet. This is not a good search. But just for us to understand, this provides you a Workweaver platform. This is okay for you to put on your project as an NX job, right? Because this is a Workweaver. Workweaver is a very validated software. We all, agree upon what they are doing. So all these are citations. These are researchers talked about this, whatever the keyword that I have put. Right? Sometimes this gives these type of beautiful graphs, right? You can still produce them on your project and expand on your write-up. Very nice. Right? This is doable. I guess with all these, you can supplement your literature and go for a good mark. Yes, yeah. I do recommend putting this in the text, but as an extra. Don't just provide this, you have to write. I'm coming to writing afterwards. Till we are searching for literature. Are we clear all these? Now suppose, there are a lot of platforms out there for us. I want you to go home and try with all these, okay? With all this, what we are trying to do is equipping ourselves for writing, literature writing, right? Literature writing, right? Now suppose we are done with all these and we have inserted them onto, for example, in your, what do you call, I don't know if we are using softwares for referencing, not yet. Zotero?
It's a recommended from the university. Zotero is also there.
Zotero is also there. So you know how to handle it now already. Mentally software, you know how to handle it. Okay, good. Not everyone knows.
Everyone is familiar with that.
Want me to touch upon that as well? That's not right.
That part,
Okay. Yeah. So now suppose, okay. Now we are coming to the writing part, the most important part, right? That's the fun part. Now unfortunately, though, there's no platform for you to produce that write up. I mean, although there's a platform, we don't have this. I mean, that's our original work. So suppose sometimes you might know, I mean, all these citations, references that you search can be downloaded on your software, right? Now you are equipping yourself. Now you have already equipped yourself for the writing part, right? Sometimes, suppose you have this is my reference management software. So this is called EndNote, but as we have said, Zotero or Mendeley is serving the purpose, right? Those are good software, open source. Now suppose you have all these references. Now it's a matter of writing. Now here we are. Now you are about to write. Now here we are about to write. Okay. How your project sections are called? Starting with introduction. And then literature. Yes. In the introduction, we are formulating the problem and the context and background and things like that. Fine. Now this could be section 1. Let's say this is background. Background problem. Okay, literature review. Here we are. Now, I want you to, before we start writing, now we have our search queries, all these. Now we have our search queries, all everything prepared. Now we have inserted them onto the software as well. Now that part, if we are not equipped still, so we'll do something. Okay. So now we have our page over here. What we're going to do now? Yeah, now we're supposed to put everything into words. Everything into words. But before we put everything to words, I would recommend doing something. I want you to sketch your literature review over here. In terms of the headings. Right? I want you to sketch the literature review in terms of the main headings and subheadings. The whole word count of the whole literature. 4,000.
yeah, 1,500.
4,000 whole page. 105 literature. 1,005. 1,005. No, that's fine. I mean, yeah. So, 1,005 meaning about how many pages? I would say 4. 3.5 max 4. All right, 4 pages. Good, okay. 4 pages. All right, 4 pages. Line spacing about 2. 1.5. All right. But before we write, I want you to firstly think about the headings. Okay. On what
you would think about the headings. Somebody tell a research issue. Some research. Any issue that you would try to table in this project? Anything? Pardon? I mean, on what area that your research project is? Yeah, good. Yeah. Can you elaborate? SMS. Okay. How would you market to Gen Z? Marketing strategies for Gen Z. Okay, very nice. Fantastic. Okay. Now, marketing strategies for Gen Z. Okay. How would what's your name? Ishara. Sorry. How would Ishara structure his literature? On what section? Any guess? From where to start? Now his research issue is about marketing generations, that of the Generation Z, and the marketing strategies. We could still narrow it down on one certain product, right? Just for the sake of it, fine. From where he would start? What would be the first heading point? No, under the literature review. Yeah, I will start from marketing strategy, generic marketing strategy. Yeah, I want you to start from the very broadest perspective. Right. If you have the fine-tuned research problem, right? Not really fine-tuned yet, no. If you have that, you can bring that up over here. Because if you tell marketing strategies, it is very much broad. No? I want you to have what marketing strategy? Right? I want you to have what marketing strategy you are talking about. Are we clear? We are not really there yet. Right? I want you to work with, do we have supervisors?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I want you to work with everybody. Don't just talk to the supervisor. I mean, he or she will fine-tune your work, right? And then start with the broadest sense. Right? If I tell marketing strategies, okay, I would write about, I don't know how many pages, right? I want you to have marketing strategies, 8 marketing strategies. Okay. Now the literature might tell you that wording is there for you. Now it's a matter of putting them onto the writer. But before that, I want you to educate on something. That are the types of citations that are out there. There are now. Okay. All right. Now here you have certain citations, right? Now this could be a literature review section. Right? This looks like the literature review section because why? This write-up is backed up by evidence, meaning the other people's work. All these citations can be created through your Mendeley or Sutherland system. Okay? If you don't know, so we'll do something for that. All right. By looking at a write-up, academic write-up, there are 2 types of citations that you need to bring onto your writing style. Because why? Predominantly I get to see students, lean towards a certain citation style, looking the importance of the other. I want you to mix both because, and then only this writing, the persuasive writing is coming up. Okay. So there are 2 types of citations. One that includes author prominent citations. Author prominent citations and information prominent citations. I'm talking about these, okay? These blue color ones. I'm talking about these. These blue color ones can either be author prominent style or information prominent style. Any guesses? Out of all these, can you show an author prominent citation and an information prominent citation? Okay, just before we go there, what could be author prominent citation? As the term says, okay, thank you. The main focus evolves around the author. If you get a sentence, thank you. If you get a sentence, we sometimes give the prominence to the author. And if you get a sentence, sometimes we give the prominence to the information. We should use both interchangeably, right? We should use both. Sometimes I largely see students are writing in this way, information part, and they write the sentence and give us a citation. Write a sentence and give a citation. I don't want you to do that. That's good, and I want you to cover that way of writing with the author prominent citation also. Now, if you get to see this, context is considered an essential factor in entrepreneurship-related scholarly inquiry. What type of a citation is this? Author prominent or information prominent? This is an information prominent. Any author prominent citations here? What's that? Okay. Any
The final ones.
silence? Yes. That is clearly an author prominent. No, author get the prominence. We say not defined. Get it? Right? So I want you to use these two styles together. Use these two styles together. Right? I want you to use both. Then only our writing is getting flourishing and it's nicely forward. All the time, it's better starting with a definitional viewpoint in your literature review. Start with a definitional viewpoint, meaning marketing strategies. Huh? Okay. So, if this is customer-centric marketing strategies, I want you to define this. Because why? This definition would be the central point for your argument, your, what do you call, the pitching. So you have looked at customer-centric in a certain lens, with a certain citation. So you can start with that. But here we have, here in this literature review section, we started with a broader sense, community and community vitality. We started defining what community refers to. Right? We started defining what community refers refers to. Here, geographic community refers to blah blah blah. Right? Now, as you define something, you can direct quote them. As you define something, you can direct quote them. What's that? Yeah, like you're extracting the same thing from an article and you produce the same set of words in your article. What is the reference style we are using here? Harvard.
In law students, yeah, that's it.
Not very good.
Yeah. But for business students, it's hard.
I cannot exactly remember what the word comes for Harvard, but for KPA, if it is 30 words, that's a short quotation. If it is like more than 30 words, it's a long quotation. So, here we have it. Yeah. So here we are. Look. So here we are writing something in the definitional viewpoint. Okay. The emphasis on what forms a community includes within inverted commas a long quotation, right? A long quotation within inverted commas, a long quotation, and define. So you could do this when you are defining something. Because why? When you are bringing up definitions, you can extract the same set of words, right? I don't recommend paraphrasing a definition in your write-up because sometimes you will alter the meaning of it. So if you are bringing up definitions, I want you to do some direct quotations. Are we clear? Don't paraphrase it. What is paraphrasing? We are writing in our own set of words, no? Retaining the meaning, right? So if it is a direct quotation, that needs to be on what? These commas, right? And I want you to put the page number also from where it took. Are we clear? In a direct quotation, the page number is a must, okay? In a direct quotation, the page number is a must. Alright? Fail to do so would be a misconduct. Any guesses as to why would I have this thing over here? In a bracket, 3 dots. No. Huh? No. To imply that, no. I have omitted certain. Now, there's no right for me to get rid of certain words of a direct quotation. But there are certain provisions. As long as you put this symbol over there in that box with 3 dots, it implies to the reader that I have omitted a certain set of words from the original. Okay. I don't know how far you can do all this, but yeah. So the first set of fraction of the word, the paragraphs would be on the definitions, right? So definition of important. Definition of viewpoint, right? And then what? I want you to say, okay, you are necessarily writing a literature something like this. So this is your issue. If you can draw something like this also, that would something. This is your issue. I want you to, these could be your headings in the literature. By looking at, if somebody is reading all these, he or she should be able to understand, okay, how the research problem has been formulated. Okay. So on that paper, the paper that I am showing today, are on the basis of these three theoretical drafts. Right? Okay. But Ishara's other section would be customer-centric marketing strategies, and then Ishara, sorry. Marketing strategies in Gen Z. You could have some, I mean, here's the thing, like, there's no hard and fast rule or structure for literature review. It's very subjective. What I'm writing today would be different from somebody else, and the time. So it's always better you consult your supervisor, erase from the structure, and then start writing. It's better. Like not just writing out of the blue. So, generation. Something about generation. Are we quickly jump into generation Z or generational thing and generation? Yeah, generational thing and then generation. Because it provides, our skill. Our skill. So we can go into the definition. Oh yeah, it's our skill. Yeah. It's our whole articulation, I would say. You would not write definitions of like 2-3 pages, one paragraph perhaps, because you have only a limited room to play. One paragraph, and then generational thing, one paragraph, 2 paragraph. Likewise, we are done.
That's the challenge.
That's the challenge, obviously, yeah. That's the challenge. That's the challenge. Something about generations, and then I don't know. I mean, if we have a fine view research problem, we could have done it better. But yeah. And importantly, if you could have something about something contextualized also, like generations about Sri Lanka and things like that, a bit, that would also add some positivity on the literature, right? But it's not a rule of thumb. Something about, little bit about context. It's arguable, little bit about context, right? You could play this in the background also, but why not in the literature also? Yeah, that would do. Just do something as working and start writing. That I call the literature strands. You and your supervisor has to derive the literature strands. These strands are there as headings, where the research problem is situated in the middle. I call it literature strands. Right. So everything therefore depends on what? Exactly. If we are not focusing here, fine-tuning this problem properly, we would, the other things will not unfold smoothly. So please be mindful that we are focusing to the center, that of the problem. Right, the problem, issue. Right. I want you to think about this as well. I mean, this is again quite philosophical, but worthy knowing. As you're quite engaging, I'm just sharing this. Right? I mean, as you look at your project, everybody, this is a holistic thing. It's a holistic thing. As you look at your project, right, I want you to think about this also. Right? Now, What do you get to see here? Water. Anything else you see here? A bottle. Anything else you see here? Huh? What do you get to see here? Glass. Yes, do you see? What?
The wordings.
The wordings. Yeah, the wordings in the bottle. On the other side. The logo. Trademark. Yeah. All these illustrations are there on this iceberg. All these illustrations. Trademark, water, except minerals. Where on this iceberg? On the very upper, yeah. Here's the take, students. We get to illustrate or rather interpret the real world out there. Our own preconception about the real world out there is on the empirical domain. Remember. Right? As you do research, these are very important. It is a big. As you do research, now my question, is there a point questioning something there on the empirical domain? Is there a point questioning about what you are seeing here? No, because why? We already know about this. We already know about this. We know this is Olu. We know this is, water, and we know this is glass, and these are words and things like that. What is worthy therefore? What is worthy? Exactly. What is unknown? What is hidden? That could be the mineral. That could be the mineral. What is really unknown? As you dive into your project, I am telling you, you might get to see certain issues in your company. If sales are going down, that's an issue, obviously. If employees are leaving, that's an issue. If sales is not picking up, it's an issue, right? But why not you thinking something quite deep that is very, central to your company and that has an impact? Meaning that you are trying to go on to the actual domain and the real domain. These things we don't get to see in our own preconception. Get it? In our normal conception, in our normal eye. So research is all about it. As you do your project, I want you to find out an issue that is quite impactful. Right? Impactful. If you solve it, sometimes the company may be implementing, I don't know if we do that. Yeah. Possibly, why not? Not for the sake of an assignment, but for the sake of an impact. Yeah? So let's think about that as well. The more the impact that you could do, if you go onto the iceberg, if you figure out a question that is really on the tip of the empirical domain, that is answerable with no research, that's the point. Right? So I want you to find out something that would capture the gamut of what you are doing. Are we clear? That is what is expected. So, yeah. So, if there are referencing guide that has been given. AI policy, plagiarism,
We have a different policy.
they go to business. Do a genuine work, okay? Because plagiarism, everything, similarity index, everything will be counted. So yeah, those things
Yeah. One last word. All the things are there for you. Literature, these platforms, everything. It is our responsibility that we write. Okay? I mean, my suggestion for you is that we should write at least a big thing. Don't wait until the last minute that you to say that to satisfy your ego. That we have all these articles. So yeah. So I guess that's it. Yeah. So yeah. So have a good one.
Before we come to an end, but let's give a big round of applause. So, given that even though we have our finals of really helped us in terms of knowing how to put there and how to really extract what we need before our finals, so we're very grateful. And I'm sure all of us learned more than we expected today, and it was a long session, but it was very insightful, and I think we got the most out of it. So one more round of applause, please.
So everyone, first of all, thank you very much for our session and you here. Sorry, I couldn't give the introduction. No, Dr. Srinath is from the University of California, part of our scholarship department. And he's one of my lecturers as well when I first joined the university. Actually speaking, he's my inspiration to become a lecturer. Thank you very much, sir, for accepting Sunday morning to do this session. From APIT, we have raised a small token of appreciation. So let me invite Lakmali, our APIT Inc., APIT lab pillar head, to hand over the token. Thank you. Okay, so the official session is over. So you can get a break right now, but I want you to return. Just for like 10-15 minutes, I want you to return to the class. Take a break.